In 1987, Hosea Williams led civil rights marchers into this county. They were attacked with rocks and bottles by the Ku Klux Klan. Forsyth County had spent 75 years as a sundown county, no black residents since when white mobs expelled all 1,098 of them in 1912. Today, you are one of Georgia's most diverse counties, 18% Asian, 10% Hispanic, 4% black. You fought to overcome a history of silencing minorities through violence and intimidation. Georgia State Senate Bill 375 brings back that silencing, just with lawsuits instead of lynch mobs. Here's the trap. SB 375 writes Hindu phobia into Georgia civil rights law, but this bill does not protect people. It protects Hindu nationalism, a political ideology running India's government. Once Georgia law conflates criticizing that ideology with hating Hindu people, anyone discussing India's treatment of minorities can be investigated or sued. It creates a false equivalence, suggesting that Hindus worldwide face the same threats that India's minorities actually face from Hindu nationalism. The victims become the accused, the perpetrators get protection. A professor at University of North Georgia's Cumming campus assigns students to research religious freedom. A student writes about India's treatment of Muslims. Hindu nationalist groups file a complaint claiming Hindu phobia. At Rutgers University, this exact pattern targeted a professor. Death threats demand she be fired. Without SB 375, Rutgers stood by academic freedom. With it, universities must investigate. That is the trap. Why does India's government want this? Because they're already trying harder methods. This report documents federal prosecutors charging an Indian government operative with plotting to murder an American Sikh activist on U.S. soil. Murder of an American in America for criticizing India's government. In 1912 and 1987, violence tried to silence voices here. And you've spent decades building a diverse, thriving community where everyone can speak freely. SB 375 undoes that work, weaponizing the very civil rights laws you fought for to suppress criticism of a foreign government's political ideology. So 3 choices. 1, pass a resolution opposing SB 375. You spent 40 years escaping the shame of 1987. Don't enable silencing through lawsuits. 2, send it to Georgia's legislature. Civil rights laws protect the vulnerable from the powerful, never the reverse. 3, speak publicly. Forsyth County knows the cost of silence. In 1987, 20,000 people marched because you decided never again. Never again would minorities be silenced through fear. SB 375 asks you to abandon that commitment. You know what happens when you silence people for speaking uncomfortable truths. You become a national symbol of shame. Oprah came here in 1987, and that's your legacy if you do nothing.
Thank you.
You've worked 40 years to escape that shame. Do not go back. Oppose SB 375, and I'm leaving this documentation with the council.
And if you wouldn't mind, if you could just state your name and address for the record.
Yes, my name is Peter Friedrich. I live in Fulton County.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Mr. Charles Schabel.